Yeah, good afternoon. And maybe today, almost 2 years after that dark Saturday, we will finally have good news. And maybe, thanks to President Trump, we'll get to see the Israeli hostages back. I'm cautious here. And as we speak, we may go to hear what the Israeli Prime Minister has to say. But as to your question, going back 2 years, I think. With the benefit of hindsight and distance, I think we can call Hamas's attack the most brilliant terror attack against Israel in Israeli history. It was the largest amount of Jews that were murdered after the Holocaust, and I think it was the most humiliating day for Israeli security forces. For Hamas, it may have been the most extravagant Pyrrhic victory in the sense of that they had a short-term victory, but long-term, it may be their undoing. Now, as to the reasons of how it happened, Hamas prepared at least 2 years for this in terms of plans and training. They prepared the infrastructure that facilitated it, tunnels, for many years, more than a decade. Without the tunnels, they wouldn't have been able to hide and prepare, and they wouldn't have been able to fight as long as they've been fighting. And I think that they got inspiration from Hezbollah in Lebanon, another Iranian proxy, which was really at the forefront of the Iranian axis of evil around Israel. Luckily, Hezbollah, we will never know why, they didn't join in the fighting. And on the 7th of October, basically Hamas was initially successful, but since then on, most of the time, they fought alone. And as we see now, 2 years after, they are very, very close to defeat. How did it happen? I think misunderstanding our enemy, underestimating their intentions, and totally misunderstanding their strategic intentions and what they really wanted to achieve. And I think this is relevant for the US, this is relevant for Europe. Not listening to your enemy and applying or forcing opinions or your beliefs and your mindset and values on your enemy's thinking is a very, very grave mistake that I think Israel did, generally speaking. And we basically told ourselves that Hamas, they're not that hardcore jihadi extremist organization they used to be. They want to take out the trash and they want people to have, food on the table. And if we only provide that, then they won't be so extreme. Hamas proved on October 7 that that was 180 degrees wrong. And we paid a very steep price, 1,300 Israelis killed in one day, the bloodiest day in our history. And it's taken us 2 years of war to get to a better position. I hope that we have learned from it. I know that Israel has been sharing our lessons, our shortcomings, and our lessons with our American friends across all levels, strategically speaking and at the tactical level. And I can only pray that what we have learned will not have to be learned by other forces, specifically not by Americans in the future.
So let me take that to the next step here. You have all this anti-Semitism. It's on the rise, clearly, in the West, here in America, throughout Europe right now. The barbarians are inside the gate. There's no question about that. We saw the attack, the knifing of two people that were killed on Yom Kippur. That was clearly a terrorist attack in Manchester, England, at a synagogue of all places. But we're seeing it in all its ugly form right now in our streets in this country, and as I mentioned, in too many Western nations. The danger zone is there. The red flags are there. Why is this being allowed in many ways to happen?
Excellent question. My interpretation, my personal opinion is that it has become in vogue to be openly anti-Semitic and to hate Israel and Jews again. It's okayed and it's allowed. On the extreme left, where we've seen various radical movements of Muslim immigrants linking up with extreme factions in Western societies on the left. And we are starting to see it on the extreme right, including in the US. Even proud patriots and people that you would normally expect to have better sense are starting to join in that anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli movement. And it's kind of a pincer movement where we see those attacks coming from two directions. For those who are students of history, then we know that anti-Semitism and, that type of hatred, it comes and it goes in waves. I think we're nearing a peak in terms of the intensity and the scope, the amount and the fierceness of anti-Semitism. And it is something that Israel and I think Western countries will really need to face.
Jonathan, thanks for being with us. 2 years, it's amazing that this has gone by. It's crazy. We hope for peace. We pray for peace. We'll see if we get the peace. In the next day, we'll know what Hamas wants to do. So thanks for being with us today.